Excuse me, sorry. I was not prepared to do this live stream right now. Let me go ahead and fix it. Dios mío. Come on. This was very last second, so let me go ahead, refresh. Come on. Come on now. Give me some juice. Come on. Come on. Come on now. Mirrorbox video capture. Come on. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all wages, welcome to the show. How do I even begin? First, I'll say this. This is why I don't talk shit over the entire course of the season. One, not just because I played before. Whoops. So I know that it is any given Sunday or Saturday or Friday, whenever this happens. Any team could beat any team. And when you're that good, you're that good. Because also, I do also think it's important to then also focus on yourself and on your own team. So talking shit is not necessary. And again, I want all you Duck fans out there that are unbelievable homers. I don't necessarily blame you. I am in some capacity. But this is why you also have to be honest about your team. But let me start off by saying this. Oregon went farther this year than I even thought they were going to. I thought they were going to make it to the quarterfinals, maybe lose a close game in the quarterfinals. Turns out the matchup that they had made it so they ended up winning the quarterfinal game. And even that was beyond my expectations. And for me, with as young as the team is, this team is very, 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 very young. And as young as the team is a success in that way. That they got a playoff win under the belt. They got 2 playoff wins under their belt, and they beat out in terms of how far they went in the playoff and in the season farther than a team full of veterans did in 2024. So I will say that. And over the course of the regular season, they had games that normally other young teams and likely other former young Oregon teams would have lost. They found a way to win those games. They probably should have lost to Penn State if it was any other Oregon team. They probably should have lost to Iowa if it was any other Oregon team. Wisconsin might have got the best of them if it was any other Oregon team, especially with that age. So overall, it was a relatively successful season. And I'm not disappointed in that way. What I'm disappointed in is how it freaking ended. All I wanted was this team to put up a fight. I didn't expect them to beat Indiana at this point because Indiana has peaked. And while Oregon had a pretty good peak, they weren't going to beat Indiana. They are a team of destiny right now. And I don't know what's in the fucking water in Bloomington, but they had it. Whatever it is, they got it. And they're going to win in year 2 of a rebuild. Kirk Cinnetti's in year 2. They were perpetual losers. And Oregon is on year 30 with a numerous different coach with a different playing style. And they can't get it done. This is why also I'm conflicted in terms of the star chasing because it doesn't matter when you're a team. But at the same time, that was the other side of Oregon in 2011 against Auburn, in 2014, 2015 against Ohio State. The issue, they had the talent fee. They were outmatched by talent. Because those teams were full of 4 and 5 stars. And Oregon was trying to have overperforming 3 stars. And below. And naturally, they weren't able to get it done. So now, they flipped the script and now they're getting 4 and 5 stars. And they still can't get it done. With a coach who is defensive-minded and from the SEC, who has won a national championship as a defensive coordinator with Georgia. Again, I would have been totally okay if Oregon lost this game. I was expecting it. But to lose like that, like every other time, how many times has Oregon tried to get rid of that narrative? That they don't show up in big games and they lay another fucking egg 2 years in a row like that. I am telling you, every avenue has been given to Oregon that they have gone down to try to break this glass ceiling, and it hasn't been done. I'm going to tell you a little story real quick. So last year I was working on my documentary. And the documentary was originally called Chasing Ships, the Oregon Ducks, and their quest for the national championship. Sorry, I'm scrolling through here. And their quest for the national championship. Link down below if you want to give money to the GoFundMe to try to get this project off the ground. And the impetus for this movie was this. 3 years ago, I started shooting high school football down here in San Diego, California. Now, growing up and also playing sports in Oregon, it's not like there was a culture of being approached and talking to recruiters nonstop, right? That there were coaches from all over the country looking for a certain talent in Eugene or Corvallis or Sherwood, Oregon, or Bend, Oregon, wherever. If it came, Albany, Oregon. If it came that way, it was usually in Portland, and that was still far few in between. That's been the Ducks' issue their whole entire career as a program. They've always had to outsource their recruiting. But when I started shooting high school football down in San Diego, which is a hotbed of high school to D1 college talent, I got a first-hand look at what it was like for a 16, 17, 18-year-old to be approached to go play at a school. And the process of how they chose the school they ended up playing for. and down here for the longest time. Reggie Bush, USC legend, came from Helix High School down in San Diego. Troy Polamalu lives in the area now. Was a USC legend, came from Winston, Oregon, of all places. Winston, Oregon. Alex Smith, Utah and NFL legend, came from Helix High School. He was Reggie Bush's quarterback. Kids today, at least down here in Southern California, for the longest time, because of their parents and their grandparents, but we'll just keep it within the locality in the terms of their dream school was always to attend USC. That's where they wanted to be recruited. That's where they wanted to go. They grew up in USC's backyard. USC has a lineage to it over the course of the years, not so much recently, but overall they have. Oregon, for guys like Bryce Betcher, for guys like Joey Harrington, for guys like Atticus Sappington, and guys like me, guys like you, Oregon was their USC. Now, a lot of us never had the chance to attend Oregon in the capacity that a lot of these athletes down in here in San Diego and Los Angeles have the chance to attend USC, where they're 4 and 5 stars and they get to set foot on campus and play. I made this I intend to make this documentary to, one, show the Oregon Duck football program what it means to get a national championship for guys like me, guys like you in Oregon who grew up here, in the backyard, in the shadow of Autzen Stadium. And it was to show guys like the guys down here in San Diego and Los Angeles and Mobile, Alabama and Texas, all over across the country, who they are representing when they step foot on the field, when they wear that O on their chest. Telling them, why are they coming here? You know why? They're coming here for guys like me. And more specifically, the Justin, the Dave Wilcoxes, who grew up in Eugene, Junction City, in Oregon, played for the team, never were able to get the team to go anywhere. But they laid the groundwork to get the program where it is today. And even talk about in the offseason, talk about in the preseason, talk about in the early season, midseason, late season, playoffs, everything. Just even have that conversation that Oregon could win a national championship. The blood, sweat, and tears that has been put in by those players and those old coaches. And guys like me that have worked their butts off when they were young, trying to see if they could even go D1, even if it didn't work out like with me or my friends or anyone else. Kenyon Barner, Jonathan Stewart, Marcus Mariota, all those guys. They put everything they had. Marcus Mariota was in the last national championship that Oregon was in. And he was the one that carried that team that year. The only reason why they were in the national championship was because of him and his Heisman Trophy winning campaign. There's a reason why he cried at the end of that game, because he gave it every goddamn thing he had. And it still wasn't enough. These guys put everything into this program. And I want every new recruit, wherever they are from in the country, to know that's who they're playing for. I don't care how young you are. With how talented that team is, there's no way they should have got beat their brakes off like that against Indiana. And that's no shade to Indiana. All the credit given to them. Great game, great freaking season. Their turnaround has been incredible. But since 1995, the 1994-1995 Rose Bowl season, Kenny Wheaton, the pick year, the Sharks saw blood in the water, specifically with Phil Knight, investing into the program. When this team was trying to have essentially bake sales to keep the lights on at Autzen. That's how down bad the program was. And guys like Kenny Wheaton took it from nothing and made it into something. Jaya Figueres, Peter Sermon, Danny O'Neill, the whole bunch in the mid-90s. Tony Graziani, Bill Musgrave. Rich Brooks, Mike Bellotti, Chip Kelly. Mario Cristobal even for a few years. Then now Dan Lanning. Given their everything, they can't put it together. Something always goes wrong. First, it was the BCS. Miami and Nebraska. The Blue Bloods get the name over on the BCS computer. Then they go to the playoffs. Then it's injuries, drug test results, all this other crap before Ohio State. Now, endless transfers, trying to see if linebackers can play running back for a game. All that distraction days before the Peach Bowl. And the coach is looking completely unprepared yet again. I've had it. I have had it, man. I've been a fan of this team for 27 years. My friends and family for even longer. To almost half a century plus. There was no excuse for the score being what it was and the game being how it was played. With the way that they've played all season, I don't care about the other team at this point. Like I said, credit to Indiana. But there is no excuse that there is a collapse at that level in that type of game yet again. Again, there's no excuse. Back then there was an excuse. No one's as talented as they were before. Miss field goal this, miss field goal that. Interception here, whatever. Bad call here. What's the excuse this time? There was no excuse last year. The best that they could pull up was a bye week. Well, guess what? Indiana's the only team that hasn't had that excuse. This year, Oregon didn't have that excuse. With how well the team has played over the course of this year and the fact that they were starting to peak and you put up that kind of fucking performance, there is no excuse. And this is not an excuse for what I'm about to say next, okay? This is an alcoholic admitting their problem type of thing, okay? Given the history of Oregon football from 1894 to today, Oregon is a cursed football program. There's no denying it. We are snake bit beyond recognition right now. All the talent that has come through this program, all the teams that have come through this program, the seasons that this program has put together, and not one time in 120 plus years this team has been a program. Like I said, 2 years younger than Alabama, a few years younger than Michigan, around the same time to maybe a little bit younger than Ohio State. There is no reason that this team has not been able to put it together. 1916 and 17, World War I, plus a little East Coast bias. And in the 40s, you got World War II, basically giving a death penalty to the team. Then the 60s, 70s, and 80s was a coaching carousel that created crazy stability and basically ruined the program post Len Casanova. And you had to have Rich Brooks piece it back all together to the way we are now. Now, mind you, when I was doing an interview for my documentary around this time last year, it was late January, early February, I drove all the way up to Oregon to do an interview with Kurt Lidke, who is essentially a Oregon Ducks superfan, archivist, the unofficial official historian of Oregon football. And over the course of this interview, he told me, or in one of his answers, he mentioned that being an Oregon fan is a bludgeoning. And then after the interview, when we shook hands and chatted up and had a good time a little bit, he told me the story of Oregon football is essentially the string of bad luck over the decades, the years, the half centuries, the centuries that this team has had. I'm thinking you should title your documentary Duck Luck. Like I said last episode, as a sort of sarcastic term for the luck of the Irish type of thing. And then months later, I messaged him back on Facebook just to say, hey, thanks for doing this interview. You're a class act. You're a great guy. You're so knowledgeable. You did so much gold work for me in my documentary. Just want to thank you again, even though I can't really pay you right now to even do it. You did it out of the goodness of your own heart. And he said, no problem. And he said, have you thought about changing the name of your documentary to Duck Luck still? And I said, I have. I haven't committed to it yet, but I have thought about it. And I think I will. Because you know what? What's going on right now with the Oregon Duck program is supernatural. I cannot explain it. Like I said, with a team playing the way that they were this year, with the talent on paper and how they were playing on the field, with Dan Lanning as the coach, to put out the performance they did against Indiana. Like I said, not taking any credit away from Indiana. They are a legit football team. But the lack of fight that they suddenly had this game, and a screen pass gets knocked out by Dyer Hill for a strip fumble to really take this game out of proportion. The lucky bounces. No lucky bounces go their way whatsoever. None. All of them go to... If that happened on the flip side, Mendoza was throwing a screen and the running back knocks out of his... yeah, Oregon gets a lucky bounce, blah, 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 blah. But every single type of those type of plays where it's more to be sometimes it's better to be more lucky than good. Happens to Oregon on the biggest stage that they've played so far as a team this season, and arguably in the rest of the seasons. Oregon, I think, has arguably played just as big of stages before. And somehow with a guy like Dan Lanning, this stupid narrative that Oregon are frauds and can't win the big game sticks with him too? With everyone else? This shit is getting really hard to defend as an Oregon fan. Like I said, I don't talk shit, but I will defend this team. I understood with Rich Brooks. I understood with Mike Bellotti. I understood with Chip Kelly, Mark Helfrich, all those guys. That narrative sticking about them not being able to win the big game. Because to some capacity it was true. But the other side of that coin was that they didn't have the talent. Every time they got to the big game, it was just pure talent issue. They went up against Ohio State with Ezekiel Elliott. They went up against Auburn with Cam Newton and Nick Fairley on defense. It was always the talent gap, the talent issue. Then you got guys like Willie Taggart, Mario Cristobal, and now Dan Lanning coming in and saying, we can recruit this talent. And to a large degree, they do something with that talent. But then again, just like it is with the old crew, meet the old boss, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Suddenly that talent is gone in those big games. And Indiana is what Oregon thought they could be and were wishing they could be in 2010. They don't have any 5 stars, and they're bullying and pushing around and outperforming the 4 or 5 stars. But 15 years ago, Oregon couldn't get that done with the same type of dynamic. Just pathetic, man. I have had it, man. This is why I'm telling you. This is something going on is supernatural. That suddenly the team forgets to play in these type of games and these type of pressure and this type of significance and this type of I forget the word, but this type of stuff that's on the line. A team with that talent, with that kind of coaching, and with that kind of ability, and they shit the bed like that. I'll be right back. I gotta go commercial.
Hey, go get him. Go punch him in the mouth. Don't play one, okay? Go get him out. Go get him right. Hey, if you can't do, we can't do. 1, 2, yeah.
Right? Remember that feeling last season, these past 3 weeks. All right, let's go. We don't need.
She is a 2-year member. on.
All right, welcome back. Just all around embarrassing. Just embarrassing. All I wanted was them to put up a fight. Even as young as they are, they should have been able to put up a fight in any capacity. But this is it. This is why, I think that. So Dan Lanning officially has an Indiana monkey on his back. 0-3 or 0-2 versus Indiana. Oregon is 0-3 against Indiana since 2004. And in that type of game, in that type of environment, with that type of shit on the line, everyone in our community, like I said at the beginning, the people who grew up with Oregon football, who put their blood, sweat, and tears to someday play for that team and never got the chance to. People live and die for this team. When I grew up in Eugene, the town was a town of 70,000 people. Now it's up to 200,000. It's always been an overlooked city. And the only pro team in Oregon is the Portland Trail Blazers, and they usually suck. At least for a long time, and then they at one time they were good enough, but they still couldn't break the glass ceiling just like Oregon. But at least they won one championship in 1977 thanks to Bill Walton, rest in peace. Oregon is the team for the people of Oregon. That's who you're playing for. That's who you're winning for. Thank God it's the off season, man. Honestly. Thank God. And like I said before, the fact that, I was recommended the change to my documentary being called Duck Luck. Just goes to show you that we as an Oregon Duck fan base are used to this. And we have looked through every single avenue, investing money with Phil Knight, different coaches, different players, different formats to the game to finally bust through. And this is the performance that we put up. And this is why I don't talk shit online or offline or anything about the team. I'm very realistic about the team because, one, I have to be. I used to be on football, basketball, baseball teams. I used to play sports where you have to be honest about where your team is at. And 2, because I know this is seemingly at this point the inevitable end for every season on this team. I am telling you, the night and day difference. I don't care if the competition level goes up or if it doesn't go up, because there are also teams that we should be beating. Indiana maybe being one of them. If Oregon played like they did against Texas Tech and the offense did like they against Rutgers, again, I don't want to get bogged down the shoulda, coulda, woulda on whose team is who. But let's just say this. Oregon played an A-plus game on offense and an A-plus game on defense. That game should have been won. But suddenly we can't even complete a screen pass, which under Will Stein has been incredibly unsuccessful in the first place. And somehow we managed to create a new standard of unsuccessfulness with a screen pass. By a running back hitting the quarterback while he's in the middle of the throw. All this talk about how we got it this time. We figured it out. It was even worse than the first time. I'm at the point, I was at this way last year with post Rose Bowl score with Ohio State and Oregon. Get rid of Ducks versus them. Get rid of the social media team. Get rid of the uniforms. Have an Alabama uniform but green and yellow. Back in the old days of Oregon in the 70s and 80s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Yellow helmet, green stripe, green numbers, green jersey, green pants. I don't care anymore. Get rid of the fashion show. Get rid of the social media team. Get rid of the Ducks versus them. Enough of the press conferences and the talk. Because like I said, something is going on that is more than just on the field. There is something going on beyond what's going on inside the helmet. There is something at a spiritual level at this point that is screwing up this team. And screwing up this team in the biggest moments that this team has faced. The more big moments the team has faced. Because otherwise there's no explanation. There's no explanation. A team as talented and the team that has faced as much adversity as they had and won the games they won. Even last year, the 2024 team beats Ohio State at home on a crazy play. Beats Wisconsin through their own sheer force and will in Camp Randall. This year, beating Penn State at home in double overtime in a wideout in Happy Valley. Oregon, in their history, has had some big wins. But they're not as big as the games that they have lost. Lower bowl games, regular season games, yeah, sure, big wins. But when all the chips are on the table and you got to put your balls on the table as well, going all in, suddenly this team is nowhere to be found. Or even if they try, they fail at a cataclysmic level. There is a curse on this program. Snake bit from the get-go. Ever since they won the third ever Rose Bowl game against Penn State, 14-0 in Pasadena. Whatever happened over the years, somehow we need to reverse it. And this is sort of what I was implying last episode when I was talking about the curse of Kenny Wheaton possibly popping up because he got screwed over because he stood by his son. The sole reason this guy turned around the sole reason that this program has turned around was him in that one play. And now he wants nothing to do with Oregon. In Eugene and Austin, anything. Nothing. No connection was the word he said. And what he told me personally was he was pissed and disrespected. Two steps forward, 500 steps back. And sometimes not even by our own doing. Somehow it looks like it's just happening to us. Some sort of switch goes off that suddenly this team can't play fucking football anymore. Against Indiana, against Ohio State last year, against Stanford the rest of the years, Arizona State, whoever, suddenly it all goes to shit. We become the new Notre Dame, where we're good enough to be beat by the teams that end up winning the national championships. At that point, it's become a barometer. If you beat Oregon, you're going to win the national championship. And if you play them in the national championship, it's an easy win. Frankly, I wouldn't be this mad if the score in the game didn't turn out the way it was. If it was a last-second field goal, that's fine. I'd be bummed, but right now, I just feel like a disappointed father. Frankly, so angry, I'm beyond disappointed. Because what do you do at this point? You're in handcuffs. What's there to change? What other school, 2-3 days before the biggest game of their lives at this point, at least this group of kids, biggest game of their lives at this point, loses half the offense, whether by injury or transfer portal, loses half their secondary by injury or transfer portal. And 4 weeks before that, lose their offensive and defensive coordinators to other teams as head coach, and they're flying back and forth. Now you got these fucking retards in the SEC and the rest of the Big Ten being able to keep this narrative going that Oregon can't win the big game. And this is why I involve the fans in this, because you know why? It is fans like me, fans like you, fans like everyone else. We go to bat for this team. Defending against those people that relentlessly talk shit about Oregon. We're not even, as fans, we're not even talking shit. We're just going to bat for our team because that's what you do. You back up your homies. You back up your bros. No, we're for real. No, this team's for real. And you go ahead and put up that fucking performance. And teams in years past do the same. It's not just this year's team. And coaches. The coaches are different too. That's what I'm tired of. That's what the rest of the Oregon fans are tired of. We're tired of putting up for a team that doesn't put up. And we've gotten to the point where we're making jokes about this shit too, just as much as everyone else. That's what I'm saying, especially from my documentary too. That's what I'm saying. That's who you're playing for. You're playing for people like us. You represent us. That's what happens when you commit to Oregon and you put that O on your chest and wear it on your helmet. You represent each and every single one of us that put our asses on the line to defend you just as much as you play for us. And we do that because some of us didn't get to play for you even though we wanted to. We're tired of it. We're tired of this being the result after we stick our neck out there. Because especially even on years where Oregon is the team of destiny, you got people on television rooting for us all the time. Lee Corso, Pat McAfee now. Everybody. Back in the day, Lee Corso. Again, in the interview in my documentary, went into the locker room post-game in 2011 National Championship game and told Oregon he was more proud of this team than he's ever been proud of anybody. You got people rooting for you while the other team's got a target on your back. And no, I am not ending my fandom with this team. I will be a Duck fan till I fucking die. But like I said, this is the moment of truth. There is a line in the sand being drawn at this point. Because some of us are tired of this shit, man. We're tired. Even though we'll stick around, we're still tired of it. There is something beyond reproach, beyond what is going on the field, that is holding Oregon back. And whatever it needs to fucking stop. And the problem is we're going to need to be a roster full of 5 stars that are on a season of destiny, that every ball bounces their way for the entire season to win a national championship for that to end. Because this program has gone as far as it can go over the course of the 120 plus years, 122 years? Or 140, I don't what's the math? I don't know. Over 100 years, almost a century and a half. They've won Rose Bowls. They've won Fiesta Bowls. They've won other BCS Bowls. They've made it to the national championship. They were a field goal away from doing it. They have achieved everything that they possibly can, except one fucking thing. And the one thing that seems to snake bite them in the end. Always at the last second, too. Who would have guessed this crazy distraction of a bunch of fucking Dan Lanning original recruits out of high school suddenly all leaving for the transfer portal? As well as the main coordinators of this team. Within 7 days of a Peach Bowl. But again, I'm not giving you an excuse. If anything, that should have lit a fire under your ass even more. Because guess what? Next year, the schedule is going to be harder. You play Michigan and Ohio State. And the problem is if we lost today and the performance wasn't what it was, I was actually going to come in with an extremely positive attitude and discuss how successful this season really was. Because it was. I think this defied a lot of people's expectations. Even the dummies who keep trying to push for Dante Moore to go into the NFL now, even though he just now put together a full season of football. It defied expectations this year. We did make progress. We won not only one playoff game, but 2 under Dan Lanning. After last year getting blown out in the first time we played. After waiting 2 years to finally get to the playoff. But this performance tonight overshadowed all that. Fucked it all up the rest of the season. What was the point even watching in fucking August or September? Just to know that this was the end? Really? If the game was closer, I could care less. But with that performance, I felt like I wasted my fucking time. Something's got to change. And at this point, it's not, I don't know if it's the roster. I don't think it's the roster. It ain't the coaches. It ain't the NIL funders. It's not the stadium. It's not anything. Something's got to change, and it is at a spiritual fucking level. That's all I can say. Because the craziest shit that hasn't happened to any other program except ours has happened. Every time that taste of victory is right there. Somehow defeat is snatched from the jaws of victory. Whether it's off the field or on the field, or both. Something always comes up, seemingly at the 11th hour. Unreal. Unfucking real. We had built this team for multiple years to make a playoff run. And that's how it fucking ends, in total collapse. Again, off the field and on the field. Unreal. And again, you got guys like Bryce Betcher from South Eugene. Multi-sport athlete who built himself and built a name for himself from the ground up, straight from the fucking roots of Eugene, Oregon. Guys like him were guys like me. Just what a way to end that, really. That's the way this season ends for the Ducks after how the rest of the season went. This, like I said, this team is snake bit. This team is cursed. And I don't practice Centaurea. I don't got no crystal ball. But something's got to happen. Something's got to be done where this curse is lifted. Because no matter what shit happened over the course of the years, I don't think that this team, and especially the fans and especially this team, they don't deserve this. They do not deserve this. Whatever it is, it's sins of the father, and we don't live under sins of the father. Something has got to change on an atomic level for Oregon if we are ever going to break that glass ceiling, which seems to be more like a concrete ceiling that can withstand a nuclear blast. Because if it was glass, it would be much easier to break. Something's got to give, and it can't be this team. I am tired of it being the same story every year. You know why people hate Marvel movies now? Because it's the same fucking story with the same ending every single time. Well, that's what it feels like being a Duck fan right now. Feels like being a Marvel movie fan. It's the same story every year. We got enough big wins to get us our name, to gas us up? Or everybody on Fox Sports, on ESPN, on whatever platform, analysts and fans alike, they're rooting for you and you fuck it up like that. I seriously don't know what to say. Nobody's here in the comments right now. And I'm sure if I got anybody in the comments, they'd just be talking shit because they're not Oregon fans and they feel like they can talk shit. And the problem is I don't. So I wouldn't even recognize what they're saying because I'm not a shit talker person. I'm just a fan of the team. And I analyze the games that they played, and I analyze the games that they will play. And I try to keep it positive. I really do. But that's the problem. Everyone who's a hater will look for a fucking chance to talk shit about us now, and we keep giving them reasons to be able to. And we're the only ones that are able, or that are out there sticking our necks out. And we're taking those hits. And teams like Indiana in year 2 are going to the national championship and are likely about to win. And you have Mario Cristobal, who got there in Miami, who also has a chance. And guess what? Everyone's going to say, well, we all knew that he was capable of this. It's just that he was at Oregon. Oregon was holding him back. That's the whole thing with Oregonians. We've been held back all our fucking lives. And we persevere. That is the attitude. That is the culture of Oregonians. I don't give a fuck about the pussy liberal hippie Oregon archetype. Because that is the actual Oregon archetype. We take our hits and we get up and say, is that all you got? I didn't hear no bell. We're farmers. We're construction workers. We're blue collar guys. And they're the ones that pay for the team when we sit in Autzen every Saturday watching this team play and cheering them on. Something's got to change. Something has got to give. Year 2. Indiana is year 2 with Kirk Cignetti. We give every other coach in the country time to trust the process. And I still think that's still the way to go. Kirby Smart, year 6. Nick Saban, year 10 of coaching. Finally win their first national championship. But Kirk Cignetti comes in to Bloomington, Indiana and pulls this shit. And then, of course, the magic has to end with Oregon being the team that they finish it off with. I think that's all I have to say for today. And with that, there's only one thing left to say. And that is, thank you for watching. Since there's no other chatters wanting to talk about this, I'm done talking about this for now. And I will see you next season Because, again, I'm an Oregon Duck till I fucking die. So, I will see you next season. And this time next year, you'll probably see the same fucking rant because the same shit's probably going to fucking happen. But anyway, subscribe to this channel, though, because I will have stuff in the off season. Maybe during basketball season, but stuff that's not Oregon Duck related too. That's more entertaining, I guess. Story-based stuff. Things like that. So, yeah, please subscribe and comment and like and all that other bullshit so I can make enough money to keep ranting about this shitty fucking program.